Welcome to the video for the Foundation Homework Paper 2. So in question 1 it asks you to write down the value of the 5. Writing down 0.05 isn't enough. You need to recognise that the 5 is in the hundredths column and that you've got 5 of them. So your answer should be 5 hundredths. Question 2, which number is not in the list is not a factor of 48? Well, I would just go through and look and see which ones there you think aren't a factor of 48. Question 3, 0.73 is a fraction. Might help to think about 0.73 maybe as 73%. In question 4, 4a take away a plus 3a. So I would start with thinking about this as 4a take away 1a, see how many a's that leaves you with, and then add on another 3. Question 4b, we just need to simplify this. So perhaps start thinking by doing 5 times by 9 and then ty on the end. Question 4c, j squared plus 2j squared. What we've got to do here is just count up the j squareds. So there is 1j squared here and we need to add another 2j squareds. Think about how many j squareds that will leave you with. Question 5. The cheapest notepad in the shop is 63p each. Ahmed buys 6 of the notepads from the shop. He pays with a £10 note. If Ahmed buys 6 of the cheapest notepads, how much change should he get? Well, your calculations here, and use your calculators, it needs to be 6 times by 63, which is in pence, or you might want to do 6 times by 0.63 to make the next part easier. Once you've got that answer, you need to take that away from £10 to decide how much change he's going to get. In part B, it says how does it affect the amount of change you should get. So your answer should either be he'll get more change or he'll get less change. Question 6. Bit of a tricky one to get your head around this, but I think if you think about how much how much Tracy gets as X. And we know that Joanne saved £52 more than Tracy, so that'll be the X plus another 52. And we know that in total they get 568. So if we add Tracy and Joanne's together, the total will be 568. Now you could simplify that because X plus X is 2X. Add the 52 equals 568. Now you've got an equation that you can solve to find out what X would be. Don't forget then just to add on the final £52 to get Joanne's total. Question 7. 45% of £80, I would use the multiplier here, 0.45. Somewhere in your calculation, 0.45. Best way to order these fractions would be to make them all have the same denominator. I can see that the biggest one we've got here is 36, and actually all of these numbers will fit into 36. So I would convert all the fractions into something over 36. So for example, the 1/2 here, I would need to times 2 by 18 to get 36. So I'll do the same to the top and times that by 18. 18 over 36. Do the same for these two, and then put them in order, starting with the smallest. What percentage of this shape is shaded? Well, I'll start just by counting. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 in total. So that's the proportion as a fraction. Then just need to convert that into a percentage, just like we do in the skills review. Question 10. Explain why the manager is right. The key here is to look at the number here, 5.35, and think about the fact that he is selling shoes. In part 2, well, the median will give you the middle number, the mode would give you the most common, the size of shoe that he sold most often. Have a think about which of those might be more useful for him. Question 11. So again, we're going to use some multipliers here. This time to reduce the price of the television by 20%, I would use the multiplier 0.8. So use that with £850, then you have to take off, it's reduced by a further £50, take off £50, see what you get and compare it to the 625 to see if you think he's got enough. Question 12. So in this question I would use a proportion grid. So we're given here that he uses a scale of 1 cm to 25 cm. So I've just put that into the top of my grid here, 1 cm and 25 cm. Now just important to get this the right way around, the 1 cm here is going to be for the model and the 25 cm is the measurement in real life. We've got the length of the bus is 4.25 metres, you need to decide if you think that's going to go in here or in here. Then look at the link between these two and do the same thing to your 4.25 metres. Stem leaf diagram. So your stems in this question should be 12, 13, 14, 15. And then just make sure that you use all 15 of the leaves, putting them in order from smallest to biggest. Most people lost the third mark for not having a key. If my first one in the list here is 121, just use that one as an example. But you must have the key in there to get the full 3 marks. In part B, what is the probability that the adult has a weight greater than 130? Count up how many are over 130 and put it in a fraction over how many there are altogether. Question 14. When you're writing down the coordinates, make sure that you give the x value first. The answer isn't 2, 4. Give the x value first. Write down the coordinates to the midpoint of the line section AB. I think in this it would help to draw that line segment, and we're looking for where halfway is going to be. So the midpoint of the line segment AB looks to me like it's going to be here. So you just need to decide what those coordinates are going to be. And at this point, just so I know that you're watching the video, I'd like you to pause the video and send an email to m.taylor@smhs.staffs.sch.uk just to let me know you've got this far. Okay, welcome back. Question 15a, work out 2/3 of 270. Use your calculators for this. The calculation 2/3 times by 270 will get you the answer there. 1 or 2 people lost marks because they didn't write down all of the digits in this question. Write down everything that you can see on the calculator screen. 2 solving equations questions here, which I would use a normal method for, and so on. In this one here I would start by expanding the brackets first. 7 times by r, 7 times by 6 equals 35, and then work it backwards from there. In the factorise question, remember factorise means to put the brackets back in. So we're looking for something to go on the outside that fits into 2x squared and into 6xy, and then what you'll need to put on the inside there. In part D, when we are simplifying index numbers with brackets, the shortcut is to multiply the 2 powers together. So your answer will be h to the power of something. Question 17. Your steps to question 17 in order to work out angle x are: work out what the angle inside the triangle at D is. Use that and that to help you work out what the other angle inside the triangle is. Use that angle to help you work out the angle x. Now most people lost 2 marks here because they didn't do this. Give reasons for your answer. So that means at each stage in those calculations you need to be using the following sentences. Angles around a point, angles in a triangle, angles in a straight line. Up to you to finish those off and include them in your steps of working out. Question 18. So I've just done an example here for how I would work out how many biscuits you could use for the amount of butter that she's got. She's got 330 grams of butter, and each 120 grams will make 8 biscuits. So if you see how many 120 grams will fit into 330, which is 2.5, that tells me that she can make 2.75 lots of 8 biscuits. Well, 2.75 lots of 8 is 22. So she's got enough butter for 22 biscuits. You'll need to do the same then for the caster sugar and for the flour, and decide what will be the biggest amount of biscuits that she can make. Bearing in mind that she has to have enough ingredients of all 3 ingredients. Question 19. I think most people spotted the mistake in this one. I would talk here about how to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. Question 20, some more proportion grids here. So I've just set you one up here for the exchange rate that you get. £1 is $1.60. She's got to convert £250. So put that in where you think it goes, decide what your link is, use your calculator to work out the answer. 2 proportion grids for America and Germany here, one with the America exchange rate and one with the German exchange rate. You've got the values here which you can put in, again decide the link, work out what the value is in pounds, and then tell me which one is cheapest. So 5 female giraffes have a mean weight of X, 7 have a mean weight of Y, an expression for X and Y for the mean weight of all 12 giraffes. So start by getting your total, which would be 5 lots of X, and adding on 7 lots of Y, and then dividing by 12. In question 22, a solid cube has a volume of 64 centimetres cubed. Work out the total surface area. So in order to work out the total surface area, you're going to need to know what the length of the side is. Now because this is a cube, you know that all of those lengths are going to be the same. So that would be x times by x times by x equals 64, or x cubed equals 64. Now you can work backwards in that equation by cancelling out the cube by cube rooting 64, and that will give you the value of x. Use that then to work out the area of each of the 6 faces of the cube to get your total surface area. Okay, in this graph, so the equation of the straight line L2 is going to be this. This number here will be the gradient, which, because we know it is parallel to this line, will be exactly the same. Now in this line, the gradient, for every 1 square we go across, it takes half a square to go back up to the line again. Here's another one, 1 square across, and it takes half a square to go back up to the line. So the gradient would be a half. This point will be for where it cuts through the y-axis, the y-intercept. But they've given you that information here. Passes through the point 0, -5. So that will be down on the y-axis, down at -5. That tells you what the y-intercept needs to be. Before you write down the integers for this question, it would be easy to do if we just had n here rather than 4n. So our first job is just to divide all of those by 4. Well, 4n divided by 4 is n. -9 divided by 4 is -2.25. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now just think about the list of integers, the list of whole numbers that fit in this inequality. They have to be bigger than -2.25, but less than or equal to 3. 25. The perimeters of these 2 shapes are the same. So if the perimeters of the 2 shapes are the same, we can set ourselves up an equation here where we say all of the perimeter of the triangle is equal to the perimeter of the trapezium. This is isosceles. You know that because the 2 sides here are marked with a line, so we know that this length here will also be 5x. So let's put that together for the triangle. 5x plus 5x plus 4x plus 8 is going to be equal to the perimeter of the trapezium. So 5x plus 1 plus x minus 1 plus 5x plus 1 plus 7x minus 7. Now simplify this on each side to find all the x's together plus the 8, and then I would simplify the x's and then the numbers to get an equation. You'll need to solve that equation to find out what the value of x is, and then substitute the x back into these numbers here to help you work out the area of the trapezium, which remember is the two parallel sides added together times by the height divided by 2. And question 26. Complete the probability tree diagram. Well, he plays 2 games of tennis, this only shows the first. So for the second set of results we need to show what happens if he won in the first, and then for the second game what happens if he didn't win in the first. Well, in the second game his 2 outcomes are the same. He'll either win or not win, win or not win. The probabilities of him winning and losing in the second game are the same as winning and losing in the first game. So all you've really got to do is just decide what fraction is going to go here, remembering that these 2 should add up to a whole. When it comes to part B, working out the probability he wins at least 2 games of tennis, I think the quickest way to do this is to probably look at the probability where he doesn't win at least one of the 2 games of tennis, which is just this path here. So use those fractions that you've got here to get the probability for that, subtract that from 1, and you'll be left with your answer. And that's it.